Welcome, college football fans. It is your favorite host, Bryce Petty. We are the Trevor and Bryce Show. Trevor.
Mr. Bryce Petty, what is
about
going
that?
on, my man?
about
Another
that?
week at it. Here we are on the Trevor and Bryce Show. We've been with you all season long. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking with us through the year. I know I've got a pretty annoying voice. My colleague has the voice of an angel. Somewhere a mix between Fergie and Jesus, they say.
I know.
So I appreciate you guys bearing with me and joining in to listen to Mr. Petty and myself talk Big 12 college football. A lot going on this week. Oklahoma State stays at the top. Baylor falls a little bit. Texas falls even worse. And, of course, at the tippy top,
Yeah,
you've still
that's
got
what I figured. It was the top
the
and then
Oklahoma Sooners. Bryce, give us your initial thoughts from the week in college football.
Well, there is a reason that I went and bought 16-ounce cans for our beers of the podcast this week. Really upset. Took that one to heart. I thought that there was this we talked about it. I felt like it was going to be a trap game, but I didn't feel like it was going to be a trap game at the same time. I thought we'd come in there. We had a lot more to play for. No more GP. Injuries, again, all over the field for TCU. And then welcome Chandler Morris. Wow.
To your point, I don't think it was necessarily a trap game. I mean, yeah, you can call it kind of every game that's inferior at this point a trap game. But none of us sat here and said, oh, TCU's got a shot. But you don't expect a guy to come out and throw for over 400 yards as a freshman, right?
Yeah.
And do the things that Chandler Morris did on Saturday.
Well, and the way they played, there was just so much emotion on the field. They played together. They actually looked like they were having fun. Whatever Jerry Kill said. And what was interesting, too, is, Gary Patterson sitting there tweeting at the game. I mean, shoot, this was it. And I didn't know this, but this is the first time that, Horny Toads have been without GP since 1997. He has been on the sideline for them since 1997, which is just insane.
Could you imagine the feeling that he has? I mean, let's all take our, fandom cap off and think about Gary Patterson as a human being. Imagine you, listeners, doing something for that long.
Right.
And now it's still going on.
Yep.
You should be out there. And you're sitting on the couch with your phone out, tweeting about it. Mentally, the guy's got to be struggling a little bit, right?
You would think so. I mean, hell, he took the same road to work every day, same parking spot, same door, probably same secretary he said hey to every morning for the last 21 years, and then all of a sudden, snap of a finger, is gone in the middle of the season.
When was the last time that he had a November Saturday afternoon where he sat on the couch? He probably had his beautiful fire pit going or fireplace. He had a cup of coffee in his hand in the morning. He probably kept his robe on all day long. He didn't know what to do with himself. There's a pile of tissue next to him because he's been crying. And I'd be crying too. He's probably sad. He's probably mad. He's probably pissed off. He's probably like, I'm good. All the different emotions running through Gary Patterson's head over the last couple of weeks, right?
Yes. Do you think he coaches again?
Yes. I had to think about that for a second. Right? I mean, I had to kind of pause and think. To your point, you're at some place for that long. How old is Gary Patterson? Can we fact check that?
I don't. Yeah,
he's in his 60s.
He texted me the other day. I think he's 60.
Did you wish him happy birthday?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's 61. Okay, that's pretty good. February 13th, 1960. Okay, he's 61 years old. That's retirement age.
Yeah,
but in the coaching world,
right.
I mean,
that's prime.
That's prime. I think he's got a couple years left in him. I think he goes and shoot. Is this now the time? Later in his career where he goes and just gets on a defensive staff in the NFL and does that for a couple years, keeps his house in Fort Worth, goes and does that, takes his wife with him, kind of like instead of traveling to Italy, go travel the United States to NFL football towns, right?
I don't know. That'll be a weird day, I feel like, for everybody, seeing him maybe in different colors, obviously a different different sideline. But I don't know. I think to your point, 61 is relatively young in this age or in this game, anyways, and he's Gary Patterson. The guy's got defense. I mean, he's just a defensive mind. I don't know if I see him getting out of college, though. I think he stays in college. We'll see.
Well,
there's some spots opened up.
Was somebody with that much history in the game, being at one place for so long, having the successes that he did, I would imagine the competitor in him will not allow himself to sleep for the rest of his life knowing that was the way it ended. He wants to go out on a better foot than that.
I would think so.
So I think after we just hashed it out here for a few minutes, I think he will come back.
Yeah,
in some capacity. Well, so let's dive into the games.
Let's stay at that one. Though.
Yeah, let's
stay at that one. 30-28.
Bryce, give us your thoughts. You're obviously the homer here. Give us your thoughts on what Baylor did wrong, what they could have done right. Just give us your thoughts on the game from the Baylor perspective on why they came up short in a game that they absolutely should have won.
Yeah.
Were they looking ahead? I mean, what?
No, I don't think so. We just it was like we just really didn't get off the bus all that excited. I don't know. Watching it, they kind of and again we talked about it last week against Texas, but there are times with this team that you just sense this I hope I don't lose kind of mentality. I hope we get a first down. There's not a lot of aggression from a play calling, and Jeff Grimes has been great all year. I have really enjoyed what he's done on the offensive side of the ball, coaching us, the play calling, just the style of offense we've been running. Again, we've known our identity since week one behind Abram Smith, Tresson Ebner. I just felt like on first and second down, it was just like, I don't know. It's just a weird thing as a fan when you see that, especially coming from, when we were playing, we wanted to just step on everybody's throat on first down, on second down, on third down, on fourth down. So I'm not used to seeing the Baylor football offense anyways be methodical. Methodical works at certain times. I don't like methodical when we were just sluggish, right? And we scored in every quarter and it was fine. It just took us a long time to get there. And the other side of it too, I think coming in, TCU was giving up 200 yards on the ground. We thought, which boded well for our attack. Knowing that, man, our guy actually Abram Smith, just eclipsed 1,000 yards on the season, and really it was just absolutely flipped. It was like no one really gave TCU offense a shout, and my man, I mean, I really don't know how you prepare for a guy that you've never seen before, who I was saying is like, look, this is like Chandler football, just like Johnny football, in College Station. I mean, this guy was running all over the place. He's hyped up. Guys were responding to him, a lot like what we've seen with Caleb Williams. Just provided a different kind of spark. And so I don't know. It was just a very weird, from the first half of the UT game, it just felt like that was the whole game. And Baylor never really took it when they needed to go take it.
Yep, I agree. But hats off again to TCU coming out. They did have a fire lit under them. Chandler Morris, a big toast to you, my friend. There's something to be said about a kid that believes in himself.
Yeah.
Goes to OU, plays amazing in high school at Highland Park, right down the road from where you and I live, Bryce. Right. And then goes to OU. It's not going to work out there because he's just a little bit less. I don't even want to say talented. We saw his talent on Saturday, but he is. Yeah. He's less talented. He's not quite of a blue chip guy as Spencer Rattler, as Caleb Williams. So he decides to transfer. Now we might see why Lincoln Riley didn't want him to play in conference, because he's got some juice to him. Lincoln obviously saw something in him. He put him in the Big 12 championship game as a true freshman, let him score a touchdown. So you knew he could play. His dad's a coach. Being a coach's son is a big deal, because it's just like anybody else. If you grow up in a house where your dad's in finance, you're going to understand those terms a little bit better than somebody else. If your dad's a doctor, you're going to understand the medical field just a little bit better. Like, my dad's a dentist. I understand what a root canal is, probably more than your average person, or a filling, or whatever. Same thing. You grow up in a coach's household, especially a coach like Chad Morris, Lake Travis, SMU, Arkansas, like some cool places.
Definitely.
You're always up around. Like Chandler grew up in the locker room, in the film room, so he's got that understanding. It was just cool to watch. It was really cool to watch. So hats off to TCU knocking off Baylor, making this week now, which we'll get to later in the show, not quite as appetizing for Baylor OU. But I still think it's, obviously a huge game, huge implications in the Big 12 race.
It's a massive game.
It's a massive game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, again, things have to happen, but they're not out of it.
I think essentially what it did was it took it from being potentially college game day opposed to A&M Ole Miss in the Grove to just a big game in the Big 12.
Right. And
huge
this is,
game in the Big 12.
And as you know, too, I mean, you had your who are the guys or who are the teams that did and I know it's kind of a figure of speech, but who are the teams that you guys circled in a locker room and are like, hey, man, we want to beat the brakes off these dudes?
Well, we had two big rivalry games. You always had Texas, right? Neutral side. The game is what it is. Bedlam, Oklahoma State, which, similar to this year, seems like the whole time I was playing and the whole time, as you say it, Mullet Man has been there. They're always just kind of in that scab, or that itch that you can't reach on your back. That's what Oklahoma State is. And there was multiple times prior to them actually having a Big 12 championship game where we'd go to Stillwater or they'd come to Norman for the Big 12 title.
Right.
Obviously not the years where the fighting Bryce Petties were running through the Big 12.
Like Bears. Well, this is that team for TCU. I mean, I think that TCU circles Baylor every year.
Oh, no doubt.
And just loves to wreck them. Loves to wreck it for us. Stop, Garrett. Golly, I can't believe I said that. I actually threw up in my mouth. Not anymore, though. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Shout out Coach McGuire. But I think that TCU comes out to play. And I also think for Baylor, that being said, Baylor likes to circle them Sooners to do the same thing. They love knocking them off. What a heck of a week to do so. All right, let's move on. Oklahoma State at West Virginia. Oh, my defense.
This was a trap game.
Oh, my defense.
Remember, we talked about this. Could West Virginia replicate what they just did the week prior with Oklahoma State coming to town? Oklahoma State shocked me. I mean, this
defense was
This was the game where I was like, all right, Oklahoma State's luck's going to run out.
Yeah.
It's always been a tale of, is Spencer Sanders going to show up? What's going to happen? But they've consistently shown us now it's consistency, that they know how to win football games. It's crazy.
I'm telling you. And this was again, a team that we were talking about before. West Virginia's a little streaky, right? Once they again, Letty Brown being that bell cow for them, Daggy just enough. They mix in some Garrett Wilson, or not. Golly, every time I know his number's number 6. Garrett Green. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Garrett Wilson. Garrett Green. They mix him in just enough to do some off balance, keep you on your toes as a defense. But Oklahoma State's defense, dude, 133 yards of total offense in Morgantown. Are you kidding? This is a set. I'd love to actually know, Garrett, producer next year, we're going to have you as our stat whiz, but under 20 yards rushing. When the last time that has happened in Morgantown, I'd love to know. I mean,
at home, right?
Dude, I mean, that is crazy.
Get kicked in the teeth at home. That just doesn't happen. I mean, I remember in high school, it was home and away, and most of the time it was at the same stadium. So I was like, oh, home. What color jerseys are we wearing?
Yeah.
In college is where you really see.
Yep.
Fans make a difference. You guys cheering in the stands and us now as we are fans.
Right.
Make a difference. The energy. Obviously, the sound, yes, that's one thing. But the positive and negative energy in a stadium being at home or on the road is a huge deal. And so to not have that at home and to perform like that is always – you always question yourself like, golly, how did this happen at home?
Yeah.
It happened to us a couple times once against the Baylor Bears, but a couple other times as well when I was playing. And it just like, how did we just let that
I know.
happen?
And you hate losing at home too.
Oh, it's
It's just one of those things that, man, we don't even. I don't even like, walking to class the next week when we lost at home.
No.
We didn't do it much, but so interestingly enough, we have at Texas Tech, and then we got the Bedlam game. So
hosting TCU first.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yep. Sorry, TCU. That'll be great to watch. Can my guy travel? Talking about Chandler Morris. Can he travel? Is the spark still there? Does Jerry Kill have this rah-rah just as much at home as he does away?
And I want to say
in a tough environment.
Recent history, and you guys can fact check me. I may be super wrong. But TCU's had some success on the road in Stillwater in the last decade, maybe once or twice. I'm not saying it's a thing like it happens every time, but I think there has been some success there. I don't think it's Oklahoma State's a good football team. TCU, whether it's lightning in a bottle for Chandler Morris or he's a good player, I still don't think they have the firepower to come out and
I really do think there was a lot of things. And again, to your point, don't take anything away from the guy, but I mean, our defense could not get off the field. It was crazy how many. First off, they had 11 penalties just on TCU's side of things. Like that's insane to have. Just bear with me because I don't mean to go back to this game, but this is crazy.
He's crying still.
So Nari,
he was whimpering when we walked in today.
Nari,
folks.
I was saying sorry and no at the same time. 13 penalties for 111 yards. Baylor had 6 for 65. My math right, carry the 3. That's 19 penalties in total, which is stupid. Then you've got at least, they were 7 of 15, and I think 5 of those were 8+, which was just insane how many things we were we should have just won. Anyways, God, it just makes me so mad.
So,
I know. I'm sorry. Blocked field goals, missed field goals, interceptions.
So hats off to Oklahoma State at Morgantown.
Sorry.
Guys, we need to get this guy
hot and bothered, man.
Yeah, really upset. So moving on. Congrats to Oklahoma State. Big win. Got everything they want still ahead of them, unlike the Baylor Bears. I mean, God, sorry. I didn't mean to kick you while you were down there. Texas at Iowa State. Wow.
This is a really interesting. And buddy, I texted you and I said, is Casey Thompson hurt? And you were like, no. I had to go back and watch it.
Dude, I literally was sitting there and
oh my God.
This sounds horrible because I've done it a lot in my career, dirt in the ball. But I was like, did this guy just get the yips? Like he was making some bad decisions, bad throws. They go into the game and Casey Thompson does absolutely nothing in the first 4 drives. He was 2 for 6 for 2 yards.
He was dirting wide open guys.
Right.
In cuts.
It was a negative
crossers,
effect. It was a negative
out
effect.
Routes.
2 of 6 for 2 yards in the first 4 drives. So then they bring in Hudson Card. He plays decent, whatever. Not near good enough to even be competitive. But the big thing, Texas goes into the half again up. Yeah. They're in the locker room at halftime where they can make adjustments, where they can talk it over, where they can pat each other on the back, where they can give each other foot massage, whatever they do in the locker room there at Texas, which I think is probably different than every other school. That's my fanship coming out again. They come out in the second half and put up a goose egg.
Not only do they put up a goose egg, they give up 21.
And give up 21.
Boom, boom, boom.
There is a problem in Austin. I have said it on every single show. There is a problem with finishing. There is a problem with stature. There's a problem culturally. There's a problem in the front office, the back office, the side office, and any other office that's there on the University of Texas campus regarding athletics. My goodness.
I don't even know what to say. I just feel so bad because we've both been there. Man, we've had off games. But to start that bad, I mean, if you guys have ever had the yips, and if you don't understand the reference, the yips is in reference to golf where you just can't. It's like Charles Barkley's golf swing. There's a mental block, legitimately a mental block. So it's not yippy, right? I mean, he can finish throws.
Right.
It was just one of those things that I don't know if it was nerves.
Maybe his
The
finger
grass was too high.
had too much popcorn.
Too much popcorn. Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I feel so bad because I have been there. But it's just a lot of times it's like, some drives you're like, damn, I was off then.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Obviously, a quarterback issue in Austin. Much more than that, in my opinion. But how bad would the Texas Longhorns be this year? And they're already bad. But how bad would they be without Bijan Robinson? Answer that for me.
They'd be bad, buddy.
They'd
be really
He is
bad.
the only person on that team that gets positive yardage, game in and game out. And it's honestly sad for him. If he was on an Ohio State or on even an Oklahoma or on a Oregon, which they put in the top 4, we'll talk about that in a second, which I think is complete BS. If he's on a primetime top-ranked team, he is in New York, questions asked.
Okay, hold on, timeout, because we still have look. Well, 24. I mean, they put up 46, 20. So they're probably averaging. I still think they're averaging probably 27, 31 points, something like that a game. So it's not. They just haven't played a complete game. They haven't played together. So. Undoubtedly, though, to your question, yes, you take away Bijan, you probably take away. I mean, they're probably scoring 17 to 14 points a game.
Correct.
I mean, and what we were talking about the first half of the season, putting him in that Heisman list, I was putting him there because of what he is to this team. Staying on schedule meaning like staying in front of the chains. 2nd 4, 3rd and 2, like that whole what he gives you is just dynamic player, running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield. I think that we are seeing right now, and this is not fun to be a fan of Texas. It's not fun to be a player of Texas, but I think when that halftime bell rings, it is like, here we go again. They almost expecting to lose.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no again,
and that's a coaching issue.
It is, and I think it's a coaching issue, but at the same time too, there is a leadership that is involved here in a locker room that says, I don't want to use that word and cuss on this show, but F that. We have to go out and do this for us.
Yes.
Right? It's the name on the front of your jersey. It's the name on the back of your jersey. It is embarrassing.
Don't go into halftime up saying, okay, let's play not to lose in the second half. No. Go in at halftime, say, hey, boys, let's rally together. Let's make us some adjustments. We're only up by 4 points at half at Iowa State. We're in a good position. We got to win the second half. That's all we got to do. So let's put our foot on their throat and keep coming. First downs into touchdowns. First downs into touchdowns. And let's run them out of this stadium and at least have that mindset. You see the timidity of this football team that goes out in the second half and is trying not to make mistakes. You see that. That is a player issue. It's also a coaching issue, but you're right. You've got to have players step up in leadership roles, talking on the sidelines, bringing the guys together. Quarterback,
right?
Where you at? Get those offensive linemen together, slap them on the butt, tell them they're doing a great job, bring the receivers over, said, boys, get together. Go run your route the right way. If you do your route the right way, if you do everything that you're supposed to do, I'm going to put it on the money. Hey, Bijan, do your thing. I'm going to make good decisions for you. Help me out whenever you're in pass blocking. Let's go freaking do this thing. I mean, just instilling that confidence into your teammates. And these guys get off on the sidelines and they put the camera on them and the helmets up on their head and they look like they've seen a ghost. And I mean, get some energy.
There's no urgency, and that's the thing
battle.
That's tough because if and I don't know Steve Sarkisian. I've never played under him. I've never been in the same room as him. He seems like a pretty even keel guy. I mean, when you watch him call plays on the sideline, when you watch him talk to his guys, 3 and out, pick, touchdown, doesn't really matter. Doesn't have a whole lot of highs, doesn't have a whole lot of lows. If you are that guy, that is totally fine. Be you. But have a guy that is a rah-rah guy. If it's a strength coach, if it's a D-line coach, if it's whoever that is, because it's both, right? It's that leadership, but there's also the way that it is a trickle-down effect. Whoever the face of your program is and exudes, your team will become in some shape, form, or fashion. And if you have this lackadaisical, we just gave up 21 points in the third quarter, and you're like, hey, man, what do you think, Trevor? What you tell me?
You guys think
that does not bode well. It does not work. So to Trevor's point, and I love it, you have to have some type of fire underneath you. Coach instilled, but player led.
Yes,
right.
100%
has to be given to the players. The players have to do it, but there has to be somebody that says, "Hey, Trevor, get your ass over here. Fire up your guys. I can't do it. You're the one in the pads.
No doubt.
You go do it." And that's
the best teams, and I
terrible.
think you would echo this. The best teams I ever played on were player led.
Yes,
100%. Yeah, we had great coaching, and they held us accountable and all those things. But they were player-led. Bryce, tell me, and because I'd love to share my experience as well. Tell me, were you the rah-rah guy for the Baylor Bears back in 2013, 2014?
We had a couple of them, but I've always naturally been that guy.
You've been a rah-rah guy,
yeah,
yes. Yeah. But who else? Give an example.
Of who rah-rah?
Maybe a defensive guy that his side of the ball.
Sean Oakman, Ahmad Dixon, Eddie Lackey.
These guys were vocal.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Right. But again, because there was a standard that was given to us by Coach Kaz. Coach Bryce had a persona about him that just absolutely loved, to beat the crap out of you. But that's what he proved and wanted to do every Saturday, even as a coach. Just felt that it was me versus the world, and that's what he gave to Coach Kaz. Coach Kaz is the one, our strength coach, who's now at SMU, was the one who said and again implemented it. Right, he was the one that was like, "Hey, this is what Coach B wants. This is what Boss Man wants."
I remember playing against you guys, and y'all's like,
he come out
string
in a tight
receiver or up on the bleachers, jumping around.
And that started
energy,
in 2011, 2011 Griff's Heisman year. But the thing was, we changed that culture inside out.
Yes.
We changed that culture inside out. And then once you start to win, once you start to finish games, then all of a sudden that becomes a standard to where if you do not own up to that standard, you're not playing. Right? And that's what's so crazy about this team is because it's 5-star after 5-star. Those guys can recruit freaking Australia if they wanted to. That name goes East Coast, West Coast, North, South, all over the world. And again, just like we talked about on the After Dark show, didn't know this. I don't even know if I could say this, but Tom Herman was being recruited by Phil Knight. Literally, Phil Knight at Oregon said, "Give him whatever he wants." Tom said, "Man, I just love to go coach UT." Goes down there. That's what UT has. That's what they embody. They embody a winning atmosphere, but they have lost that. So, anyways, my couch quarterback is done. It's over. I think that there needs to be a regrouping of leadership, and it can't come from Sark, and that is okay that it doesn't come from Sark, but somebody has to step up and do that.
Agreed. All right, moving on. Last game of this week. We can touch on it real quick here because we got some fun stuff to talk about right after. Kansas State at Kansas, the old in-state rival. Not much meat on the bone here. Good win by Kansas State, 35-10.
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce Vaughn, yeah.
Grief. That guy is an animal. If you don't know him, you need to read about him.
Small little guy, but powerful, electric.
About as big as this 16-ounce beer can, and 162 on 11 carries, 3 tutties, and then five through the air for 60 yards. He is their offense. It is fun watching him because it runs through 22. They've had some guys, Darren Sproles reminds me a lot of, or Deuce Vaughn reminds me a lot of Darren Sproles. Those guys are just fun to watch, man. They're just fun to watch. They're just ball players, absolutely fearless,
yes.
Which is it's great to see.
So I want to talk about the playoff picture just a bit. But before we do that, there's something we got to touch on. Texas Tech named their new fearless leader in your guy, who you put him in your initial coaching search right when Matt Wells was fired.
Yeah.
Joey McGuire leaving Baylor, going to be the head man at Texas Tech. Bryce, give us your thoughts on the hire out there. Do you think it's a great hire, first of all, which I'm sure you do, but then give us your prediction. How long is it going to take for the culture changer himself to get that program turned around? And what does a turnaround in Lubbock even mean?
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't think it's a great hire. I think it's an absolutely fantastic hire.
Heard it there. Heard it here first, folks.
Yes.
Sorry.
Coach McGuire was probably head coach for his Foursquare team in elementary school. Probably got guys, hey, I want you matched up here. I want you matched up here, slapping guys in the butt. Probably recruited some guys from other schools. Then probably went on to middle school and said, you know what, the heck with getting.
Wait, are you implying that Joey McGuire played select Foursquare, Foursquare? As
no, not even select. Just took the kids that he had and made them better. That's exactly what I think he's been. Yeah, I tell you what, and Garrett's crossing fingers. I love this hire. I think that Joey McGuire is just about as beautiful as a human as he is a coach. I think he's going to be great for what Lubbock needs. I really hate putting any. This is what the world is now. It's expectations, right? I don't know. Has it come out who his hires are going to be? I mean, I was about to say, because they just hired him. So I really can't wait to see who he's going to bring. From an offensive stance, even a defensive standpoint. But what that guy can do by himself is recruit.
Yes. That
guy can recruit. He has been he was Cedar Hill coach, Texas born and bred. And they had crazy enough, man. When I moved to Midlothian in 2006, before you Twitter people and
Bryce is
YouTuber.
A small town guy.
Yeah, don't come at me. I didn't move because of football. Just so everybody knows, we weren't very good. But he had everything to do with me getting recruited, and I think I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. So I owe him a lot. But when you watch him around people, again, we just got off the subject of Steve Sarkisian. Great offensive mind, but when you see him around guys, do they love him? Mm-hmm. Do they want to play with him or for him? It's a big difference. Coach McGuire has that ability to make guys elevate, feel loved, and he's just captivating. He's just absolutely captivating. They want to play with him. And so I do think that he is going to present some hurdles for other Big 12 teams coming through Lubbock, hurdles in terms of recruiting. I think he's going to mix up the recruiting a little bit. I think that you're going to see some guys turn. And I really think that he can turn this program around. And if they give him time, I think 3 years. Yep. 3 years, he will be. It'll be kind of the Graham Harrell, Michael Crabtree, like that. It's not going to be that style of offense. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think it's going to be that, man, you come into Lubbock, you better be ready to play.
No doubt. I love the hire. And to your point, you hit a lot of the biggest, best points. But from a recruiting standpoint, you've got a guy that was at Cedar Hill, that rode the wave. When he took over there, they hadn't had a winning record, I think, in like 10 years, I was reading. He turned it around, took them to 4 state championships, won 3 of them. So obviously understands how to take a winning team. He has now been with Matt Rule and the current Dave Aranda, the current coaching staff. Matt Rule was 1-11 his first season. They turned that around. And now Dave Aranda comes in. Yeah. He's been a part of culture-changing environments. Now he's going to West Texas. He's got all the connections in the high school world. For you guys that don't know, high school coaching connections is huge.
Absolutely massive.
In recruiting. The article that I read, there are something like 20 to 25 blue-chip recruits in Dallas-Fort Worth, which is a huge hotbed for recruiting for all the surrounding schools. TCU, Oklahoma State, Tech, Baylor, all those.
Shit,
Tech,
LSU, A&M,
all
yeah,
those.
Right.
And not to mention the national guys, the
Right.
guys that leave here and go national. But Texas Tech, an in-state school that is, in my opinion, great college town, all those things, did not get one of them in the 2021 class. That is what Joey McGuire is going to go to Lubbock.
Notes, partner. That is some great notes.
He's going to go to Lubbock, and he is going to focus on getting a couple of those big recruits to change the culture, to say, hey, guys, I know that you can probably go wear some cool uniforms up in Eugene. Stay in Texas so your mom can come watch you play.
Yeah.
Come out to Lubbock. I'm going to take care of you, not
Should a DB
monetarily
shootout.
because that's not okay.
It is now.
But, well, I guess not from the coaching staff. Well, maybe it is.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's a wild, wild west, literally in West Texas. I'm going to take care of you. If you will come
get you some of them oil wells.
Right. If you will come and buy into what I'm trying to do, I have wisdom. I've been there before. We can build something special in 4 years. And I think he's going to sit in the living room of a lot of young players around this state, and he's going to get some blue-chip guys. And I think he's going to turn that program around to where maybe they're not competing for a Big 12 championship, but at least they're winning 7, 8, 9, potentially a 10-win season every once in a while. I think he's going to get – I'm going out on a limb here. I think Joey McGuire is going to have a 10-win season in Lubbock within 4 years.
Brother, I love it.
You heard it here
I
first.
love it.
You heard it here
and,
first.
And really quick, just to piggyback on that, transfer portal.
Yes.
I think transfer portal is going to be huge for Coach McGuire, and I think he already knows. His recruiting trail is not just high school. Again, that's why high school coaching is so big, because who are the first guys that hey, man, I think, Trevor might transfer? High school coach?
Yep.
And then who has an in to all those high school coaches? So that could have been bad. So I think that this is a really, really good hire for Texas Tech. Kudos to you guys, in finding the right guy, building around him, let him go. He will change things for you.
Okay. Love it. Love the hire out there. That's big news in the Big 12. Let's step to a national scale just for a minute.
Okay.
And this implies a Big 12 team. Bryce, we talked about this on our Saturday night show. Obviously, we've got the first college football playoff rankings out. An undefeated Oklahoma drops all the way to 8 in the first rankings. Obviously, we've got more coming out this Tuesday. But I went off saying that I think if Oklahoma wins out, they are in. Bryce, just give me your high level. Who do you think gets into the college football playoff and why? And we're not going to dive super deep into this. If you guys want to hear all that action, watch our national show on Saturday night after dark show. We got into it this past weekend. It was great. Go watch the recorded version or whatever. But, Bryce, give us your thoughts on how you think the Final Four shape out the college football playoff as we stand
As
today.
it sits right now.
Yes.
As it sits right now, Michigan State is out, right?
Correct.
Before I get into as it sits now, the selection committee had Georgia, Alabama, Michigan State, and Oregon as its top 4, with Ohio State and Cincinnati first 2 sitting out. What that tells me is that OU, even being undefeated, Oregon losing to a terrible Stanford team, Oregon being the only one-loss team in that scenario. What that tells me is that the committee thinks nothing of Oklahoma and the wins that they have produced. When you talk about barely beating Tulane, Tulane is the last in the American Conference. When you talk about beating Kansas on basically a last-ditch effort in the fourth quarter, again, style points, what we talked about in our After Dark show is how does the rest of the top, how would they play against the opponent that you're going up against? I know that you're sitting back and you can't wait till I get done with this. But
I'm holding strong.
But what this is saying to me is that OU has a very big uphill battle to climb. But in saying that, and before I digress to my buddy Trevor, they do have a ranked Baylor team at Baylor. They do have an Iowa State team who's probably did Iowa State get ranked this week? I know the AP poll came out. anyways, doesn't matter. They're going to Ames, and then they're going to
No, they're at home against
home
Iowa
to
State.
get yeah,
And then they're
home
going
against Iowa
to
State,
a
sorry.
ranked Oklahoma State.
And they're going to Oklahoma State exactly for the Bedlam game. So there is enough meat there that I do think that they can make their way up. But can they hop Iowa State, and can they hop Oregon, which most likely Oregon will –
Ohio State.
What did I say?
You said Iowa State.
Sorry, Ohio State. Ohio State is going to be in, and I think
if
Oregon's
they
gonna
win
bump
out.
down.
If they win out.
If Ohio State wins out, which they have a tough schedule as well. But as it sits right now, Michigan State is going to be out. Oregon's going to be at 3. Ohio State's going to be at 4. What happens with Cincinnati, I think Michigan bumps up, and now you have Oklahoma sitting at 7 or 8. Can they hop 3 teams?
All right, so who is your Final Four as it stands today? Who's making the playoff?
I got Georgia, I got Alabama, Oregon, and Ohio State as my top 4.
Oh, my gosh. This guy's a joke. Oregon.
As it sits right now?
Oregon.
I think if Oregon and Oklahoma play, I think Oregon beats them.
All right. You're telling me that Oklahoma has made the playoff, 4 times now? 3 times? 3 or 4 times? Every single one of those times they have 1 loss. Sure, they had Baker Mayfield. Sure, they had Kyler Murray. Sure, they had Jalen Hurts, right? But you're telling me the year that they can make, if they go undefeated, the year they go undefeated as a Power 5 undefeated champion, Big 12 champion, that they will get turned away to a 1-loss Pac-12 champion, which you even admitted to me the Pac-12 is inferior to the Big 12.
It is.
Just because Oregon beat Ohio State week 1, anything could happen. Nobody knows who they are yet.
Week 3, but
whatever. Week 2, week 3. It was early on. You're telling me that an undefeated Power 5 historic program in Oklahoma who is undefeated, let me say that one more time, undefeated, is not going to make the playoff over a 1-loss Oregon team who got embarrassed by Stanford. That's what you're telling me.
I'm telling you that the committee has ranked 4 teams in front of your 4 one-loss teams
this point,
in front of.
At this point.
Yeah, at this point.
Okay, I hate the Oregon. I hate the fact
teams.
that they put Oregon there because that means that they have to, like, Oregon's going to win out. They play in a boo-boo conference.
But if Oregon wasn't there, Ohio State would be there.
Okay, but if Oklahoma finishes their season beating 3 ranked teams and are undefeated, they're still not making it in?
You didn't ask me that. You said as it sits right now.
No, I said at the end of the year if Oklahoma's undefeated.
That's not what you said.
I said both. I said both. Fair enough. I said both.
That's fine.
If Oklahoma goes undefeated and they beat 3 ranked teams in Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State.
I think they're 4 or 5, 100%.
4,
I don't think
4 or 5 is a huge deal because 4 is in and 5 is out.
Because Ohio State and Michigan still have each other to play, as is Michigan State. That is going to be a hell of a run to Big Ten.
Okay, so we've got to go up to 1 and 2. You said Georgia, Alabama. That is assuming
that
Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship. Because if Alabama loses, now they're a 2-loss team. Do you still put them in?
No.
A lot of people are saying yes.
I know, and I don't think you can do that. That's pardon my French. That's horse shit if you do that to a 2-loss Bama just based on what they've done. But you have presented the same argument based on what OU has done in the past. Gets them there because they're undefeated today.
Not because of what they've done in the past.
I understand that, but what you're saying
they are
that
a Power
it's a
5
one-loss team. I know that, but what you're saying is it's a 1-loss team and they're undefeated today. So how does that make any sense that you put? But the Baker teams, the Kyler teams, those teams are so much better than this team right now. I understand that Caleb Williams has given the OU Sooners a spark, but what this has presented is, again, Tulane, last team in their conference. Nebraska, last team in their conference. And they took Kansas to the 4th quarter. How?
Okay.
Why?
But
style
listen
points.
To yourself.
You cannot.
Listen to yourself. I'm parenting you right now.
Oh, gosh, I love it.
Listen to yourself talk.
I'm undefeated.
You're in.
I'm
that
undefeated.
is. Why do we play the game?
Cincinnati could be saying the same
Listen,
thing.
why do you play the game? To win. That is the first and foremost. Then you get into all this crap that this committee that sits around a big, rich mahogany desk and makes all these stupid decisions. That's what you get into after that, because of people like you who I'm sorry, I couldn't even say that seriously. People like you who try and dive too deep into this. They're an undefeated Power 5 team.
About dive too deep. Okay, real quick. If you had
undefeated Power 5
so then
team.
who would be your top 4 right now based on the same thing that you just said? People like me that don't look at style points. Who would be your top 4 right now?
I'll tell you one thing. An undefeated Georgia, Power 5 champion, undefeated, and an undefeated Oklahoma, Power 5, Big 12 champion, are both in.
Okay, and your next 2. Go.
Big 10 champion if they've got one loss.
I'm talking about right now. Who would your 4 be if you were in the selection committee along with all of us? Who would your selection committee be right now?
Listen,
1, 2, 3, 4.
We're having a different conversation.
Why are you deflecting? What is 1, 2, 3, 4?
Listen, are we talking about right now? Because I'm fine with
right now.
I'm fine with Oklahoma being out right now. They haven't.
Garrett, do you hear this?
They haven't. No.
What your whole argument is the fact that they're not in right now.
No. My whole argument is the fact that they will be in if they stay undefeated, because they play 3 ranked teams. That's what I just said.
You said as it sits right now.
No, I didn't.
Can we rewind this tape? We have not been arguing what happens on January 7th.
That's what I've been arguing. That's why I even said it. They have to play. They get to play 3 ranked teams, and they'll be in. Right now, as we look at it, do I think they should be in? Yes, because they're an undefeated Power 5 conference. But I'm okay if they're out right now. If they go undefeated and they don't get in, now I'm pissed.
Okay, so you're saying undefeated Georgia. Naturally, that's 1 and 2.
Georgia's
what we talked about, right?
Everybody's playing for second right now. Georgia's running away with this thing.
Okay, so where would you put OU at 2, 3, or 4 at the end of the year if they are undefeated, and then you have what will be a 1-loss Big Ten team, and then who is your 4th?
So
because we have 3 spots to fill.
So it depends on the SEC championship. If Alabama beats Georgia, they're both 1 loss. They're still 1 and 2, in my opinion.
Agreed. I would agree with that.
Okay. So then I think you put an undefeated Oklahoma team now with 3 more solid ranked wins at 3.
Okay.
So it'll probably be Alabama, Oklahoma in a semifinal.
Okay.
And Georgia and 1-loss Big Ten champion, which is I hope Ohio State in the other semifinal. So
but dude,
I have
such
Georgia,
Alabama,
Oklahoma, and Ohio State.
This is what the sixth college football playoff, and it's been the same 4 teams outside of Notre Dame.
It's a monopoly. So you just want to see somebody else.
Especially if Oklahoma gets out of these games winless, there is no way.
I think this is a year that somebody could go in the playoff again. Ohio State did it several years ago and beat Alabama. But I think this year, somebody, like we just saw with LSU this weekend against Alabama, I think there's actually a chance for somebody to go in the playoff against Alabama. Let's be honest, Alabama's not going to freaking beat Georgia. They're not going to the playoff. They're a 2-loss team. So I need to reshuffle my top 4 anyways.
And that's the thing.
So
do you
in the spirit of Christmas, it. I'm going Georgia number 1, Oklahoma number 2, Ohio State number 3, freaking undefeated Cincinnati at number 4 for the playoff.
I don't see.
They'll put Oregon in there, which is stupid. But anyways, I digress. We were getting too deep into this. We're a Big 12 podcast, and we're talking national. But if you want our thoughts, join the After Dark show. Me and Bryce will scream at each other again.
Or tweet us.
It's unhealthy marriage we've got going on here.
I think it's a very healthy marriage. I think you just need to understand what you're arguing and then present that.
I am as clear as day on my argument. As clear as absolute day.
Yeah, Pierce.
All right. Oklahoma goes undefeated and they win a Power 5 conference with 3 more ranked wins, they should go to the playoff. Yes, every time.
That
Clear
would
as
be
day.
the argument. Do you think they go in at that point? You said as it sits now. Anyways, all right.
Whatever.
As it sits right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games coming up. But before we get to our games coming up,
tell us
and
about
get to hear
Bet Rivers.
I would love to tell you guys about Bet Rivers. Here's the thing. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, you're ridiculously
You're dumb.
I wasn't gonna say that, but you're missing a good damn time. Well, it's now is the time because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable, unlike Trevor's arguing ability. With football kicking off in the action, or get in the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem, Trevor?
Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I love it.
All right, let's get into it, Bryce.
Okay. Let's see. We have, Garrett, thank you as always for doing this, man. This is such a cool thing that we do. All right, so we have OU at Baylor. Big game in Waco. OU at 5.5 point favorite with the over-under set at 63 points.
You know, Baylor coming off a big loss, right? I think Dave Aranda, we've talked about him all year, being a culture guy. I think he gets his team ready to play better than almost anybody in the Big 12, maybe even nationally. So I believe in the guy. I think they will bounce back. I love this line, to be honest with you. It's going to be a close game. Every time nowadays that Oklahoma travels on the road to Baylor or even plays Baylor, that's become a rivalry game.
Yep.
And McLean's going to be rocking. The Sailgators will be out there. If you guys have never been to Waco for a game, the new stadium and the area around it makes for just a unbelievable tailgating experience.
It's awesome.
You don't have to walk millions of miles to get to the stadium. You're right there. It's super relaxing, super fun. You should go down. That's a plug to Waco.
Thank you.
You can visit Chip and Joanna Gaines and Magnolia and all that fun stuff while you're at it right there on the river. But I love the line. I'm going to take OU minus 5.5. I think they'll win by a touchdown. Okay, so I'm going just a little bit over that line there. But I think OU wins by 7 in a really, really fun game to watch. It's 11 o'clock kick, which I think it would have been the primetime game if it was a different turnout for Baylor this last week. But still going to be a fun game to wake up and watch on Saturday morning.
Okay.
Thoughts?
I think Baylor comes out and throws haymakers.
This is me versus you, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like you this week.
That's
no
fine.
wonder we got in a fight.
Loser buys Chick-fil-A. I think Baylor comes out and throws some haymakers this week. I actually like Baylor in this one.
All right.
I got Baylor by 3. I think Dave Aranda is going to have these guys rocking. I think they're already going to be, from a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practice. I think guys are going to be pissed. I think they're going to clean up some stuff in the back end. I think they're going to clean up their first and second down approach, hopefully. And I think they're going to come out and throw some haymakers, have fun playing.
So we love Bet Rivers. We appreciate the minus 5.5 and the numbers here. Bryce,
Yes.
Straight up, Baylor OU, me versus you. Toe meets rubber. You want to go straight up win-loss for Chick-fil-A? And maybe they'll give us a like an ad read or something. That'd be cool.
Dude, that would be
Straight
cool.
up, Chick-fil-A on the game, Chick-fil-A.
Done. You saw it here first.
And next week on the Trevor and Bryce show, if you guys watch the video copy, which you should because my colleague, he keeps that fresh-shaven beard looking really good. Next week, the loser has to wear that shirt.
Oh,
So
gosh.
If Baylor loses, you have to wear an OU shirt. If Oklahoma loses, I'll wear a Baylor shirt. Deal?
I'll wear a tank
And
top.
Chick-fil-A will be sitting in the middle of us.
Beautiful. Done deal. You
And
guys heard it
get
first?
And whoever wins gets to eat the delicious waffle fries in front of
Yes.
the other one.
And
you
they
don't
get to
any of it.
order for the other guy.
Deal. All right, you heard it here
Frickin'
first.
salad.
All right, let's go.
All right,
Boomer Sooner.
Keep rolling.
West Virginia at Kansas State. Bryce, the line is set at Kansas State minus 6.5. What do you got here?
Yeah, Deuce Vaughn. We all know that the Mountaineers do not travel near as well as they play at home. They got the freaking crap beat out of them, from our pokes and Mullet Land last week. I got Kansas State by 10 here, so I like that line. 47.5. I'm actually taking the under there.
Kansas State, great place to play. They play really well at home. Great student section. I'm taking the Wildcats as well, -6.5. I like the line here. I'm going to go over 47.5 in Manhattan, the Little Apple, this weekend.
Nice. Keep it rolling. Iowa State at Texas Tech. Iowa State -11. That will change when Coach McGuire's up there, but not yet. Iowa State -11.
I'm taking the Cyclones -11. I think that they are hitting their stride. I think Brock Purdy's playing really well, really good football, playing really well. I think that Breece Hall is just an absolute Clydesdale in the backfield for the Cyclones. Again, Texas Tech, new coach. Is it the same type of atmosphere as TCU? I don't think so. Sonny Cumbie's kind of running the show up there. They got their teeth kicked in by Oklahoma. Taking the Cyclones in this one, -11.
I got them -11 as well. Over under. I'm actually going to say under. Rolling. Kansas at UT.
Last game of the week, man. Hopefully,
well, we got one more after this one.
Oh yeah, there is one more. Sorry. Kansas at Austin. DKR. Hopefully,
there's going to be some booze, dude. There's going to be some booze. I already know it.
There's going to be some booze, but hopefully the Longhorns can at least get some sort of confidence. But -29 for the way that they've been playing, I ain't taking that. I'm taking Kansas +29, and I'm actually putting a couple bucks on that one.
Are you?
Heck yeah!
Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely taking Kansas as well.
29 points is a lot of points.
I know.
Man.
I am taking. Yeah, I mean, look, Texas doesn't play bad defense or a bad game in the first half. It's just second half. Just see what happens. But I think there will be some boo birds here. All right.
Now the last game.
TCU at Oklahoma State.
Could be a fun one.
Keep it going.
Could be a fun one. Oklahoma State, again, tough place to play up there at Boone Pickens in Stillwater. Always enjoyed the atmosphere. You got the paddles on the pads that line the wall. A great place to go. If you're a College Town fan, Stillwater, Waco, Lubbock, Norman. I mean, the Big 12's full of them. Right?
It's great.
Take some road trips, guys. I mean, get out of the house. Get off your lazy tail and freaking go to some football games. Drink some beer. I'm taking Oklahoma State in the game, but I'm taking TCU in the bet here. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm taking TCU +12.5. Oklahoma State's going to win the ball game by 10 points.
Oklahoma State's winning by 10 points, but you're taking the line?
Yeah, Oklahoma State's winning the game by 10 points, but they're a 12.5 point favorite, which means I'm taking TCU in the bet.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So
I'm
you're
taking
TCU
Oklahoma State in the game, winning by 10 points.
Right.
I'm taking TCU in the bet +12.5.
Okay. Understood. I got a little confused there, Garrett. Sorry about that. I'm taking Oklahoma State. I think it's their defense is rolling, and I think they're already ready for a big showdown here in a couple weeks against Oklahoma. So I got them winning by at least 17 points at home. That's just a place to play.
All right. So we disagree on a few. We'll see it how it goes this weekend. But guys, that's it. That's another show.
God, this show's so good.
I love it. Guys, again, we thank you guys so much. Before we sign off, just a shout out. I'm wearing the shirt today. Let me slide. Field of 12 Media. We've got guys covering the Big Ten, the SEC, all over the country, right? Bryce and I, of course, covering the Big 12 with the Trevor and Bryce Show. Hey, follow us on Twitter. Send us your questions. Some of you guys are. Who's our guy that we were going to shout out this week?
Oh, dude, I did want to shout out. Man, my guy is incredible. John Shoop. Boomer
Appreciate you, man.
Shoop 99.
Boomer Shoop 99. Man. Appreciate all your interaction, man. It's been fun to see that.
Knows his stuff.
Absolutely, you know your stuff, man. And you could probably run this show. But send us messages on Twitter. Follow us, subscribe. Anywhere you get your podcast, subscribe to it. Field of 12 Media. It's on YouTube. It's on Apple Podcasts. It's on Twitter, everywhere, right? So we enjoy this. We love it. We love talking Big 12 football with you guys. And we'll be back next week. College football playoff rankings are coming out shortly. We got a big weekend in college football. Bryce, even though we yelled at each other today, I still love you. And with that, thank you. That made my heart go pitter-patter. With that, another week on the Trevor and Bryce Show. We'll see you next week.